It's extremely hard to define good and bad in a consistent way, right? What do I mean by this? Right? Let's just say, someone claims that, killing is wrong, right? Killing is bad, right? All right. So, well, what does this person mean by, by saying, killing is bad, it's wrong? Killing what? If you say that, killing like just people, that's the only thing that's bad, all right. Or what if he says that, killing animals is also wrong, killing insects is also wrong? You can see like how the definition of good, bad specifically in this case, but also good and, etc. It changes a lot depending on, the interpretation of the individual and like on what the individual determines is correct and wrong and stuff like this. There's a great deal of subjectivity when it comes to morality and stuff, and ethics and and how we kind of see the world in this kind of very simplistic view, right? That, there's like things that are good and stuff, and then there are things that are bad, and there's this like clear line between this type of way of seeing the world and stuff, and this is how it is, again. But there's a lot of great deal of subjectivity. This, again, using that other guy as an example, right? This fictional hypothetical guy I have in my mind that I'm using to demonstrate this example. Let's just say he says that killing is bad, it's wrong, right? Okay, and you say all right. What does he mean by saying killing is wrong? What does he mean by killing other people, right? And you can agree to that and say, all right, yeah, fine, killing other people is wrong. What if he says like animals as well? You shouldn't kill animals, or you shouldn't kill insects. Anything that can move, you should not touch or kind of abuse or essentially kill, right? Essentially kill to a more extreme way, in a more extreme version, right? Whatever. Right? Anything that moves, you can't kill, you can't harm, you can't change its course of action or whatever and stuff. You can see that this idea of bad becomes kind of quickly absurd, right? And again, there's a great deal of subjectivity when we're discussing good and bad and ethics and morality. Again, using this fictional hypothetical guy, he says killing is wrong, right? And you agree and say, yeah, okay, well, killing also animals is wrong, right? Killing insects is wrong. You can't kill anything that moves, right? And you might not agree then, right? You might say, well, we need to eat meat, so we have to kill animals, right? Insects can get in the way, so you'd have to crush and kill them and stuff and push them out of the way and stuff. Killing, well, what about people? Well, some people need to die and stuff, prison, people that commit crime there and commit very violent forms of crime, right? Like assaulting people, shooting up malls and stuff like this. People that like kind of really cross the line on law, on what's legal and appropriate. So they need to die because if they don't die, then that would compromise the safety of our society and stuff. And that's why killing these specific people is okay, right? But the other guy said, well, no, you can't kill anyone, not any person, regardless of what he does. That you can't kill that person, right? Even if he does the most insane things, you can't kill him, man, because killing is wrong, it's bad, right? You can see it becomes kind of extremely absurd. It becomes completely kind of arbitrary as well, right? What do I mean by arbitrary? It doesn't have real logical parameters anymore, right? It just becomes the guy's own opinion-based thing, right? It becomes his own judgment, based off of his own judgments. Again, you can see what I'm really trying to talk about, right? That, it's all subjective and stuff. So, our ideas of like morality and ethics and what's good and bad and stuff like this is just so. It's so like kind of. It's kind of hard to exactly term it, but it's so. Kind of, I would say. Not logical. That's all I'd say. It's kind of just based off subjectivity and stuff. Killing is bad, or killing animals is not bad, right? That's not. All right, you could say killing animals is not bad. It's something we need to do for food, and and that's how we stay alive. It's killing animals, right? Killing people, okay, but some people have to get killed, right? People that commit very violent forms of crime have to die, otherwise the society doesn't work and stuff. and you might not, some of you might say, oh, that's okay. A lot of you probably would say, no, that other guy can just get put in prison and stuff. See what I mean? You can see how subjective all of this is, right? Good and bad, these types of parameters we use to morally judge people. You can see how there's so much subjectivity. There's no, science hasn't discovered any type of physical rule book, right? That definitely shows us like what is bad and what is good, and that sharply defines our morality for us and stuff. Right? There is no such thing as this type of this rule book, right? Because you look at the natural world, animals, they just do what feels right. They don't have any type of morality to them, right? And this is, you can observe this in the African savanna and stuff, and other natural areas of this world. Animals, they live off of kind of their own, instinct and stuff like that, but they don't have any type of moral, they don't have any type of parameters they fit themselves into, right? What do I mean by parameters? Like stuff they can and cannot do. They don't have these neat, tidy ideas of morality and stuff like this, and and types of, let's just say, rights for the members of their species, and stuff like this. They don't, essentially they do not act like humans and stuff. It's uniquely a human thing, the morality. But again, morality is something, I would say, that is completely fictional, right? It's a figment of our imagination and stuff. In the material world, right? We cannot see moral parameters, right? You cannot see good and bad, right? You cannot see, and feel and sense, good. What determines good? You can't feel and sense that. What determines bad? You can't feel and sense that. Again, it's all inside of our heads and stuff. It's kind of, in that way, it's kind of fictional. To bring it all the way back to what I was originally saying, good and bad. Using that guy as the first example that I had, right, with this guy, he says that killing is bad, and you might agree to that, right? But well, killing animals is also bad. You might not agree with that now, right? You might claim that we need to kill animals for food and for meat and stuff. And then let's just say he also says that killing anything that moves is bad. A lot of you probably won't even agree to this, right? Because in like a lot of insects, if we don't kill insects, they would just kind of take over the entire ecosystem and geography and stuff like that. And then you would say, okay, killing is not necessarily bad. It just depends on whether it's like some human, whether it's human or if it's like a non-human and stuff. Well, what about people that commit violent crimes that do, and then you can say, well, those people would have to die, right? And maybe a lot of you might just kind of diverge from this and say, well, they can be put in prison, so, human life is sacred, but, animals and other creatures, if they get in the way, they have to die, right? They have to die and stuff. If insects start to populate too much of our ecosystem, they have to die. Or animals, cows and stuff like this. If they get in our way again, they must die. They have to be put away and stuff. But it's super. You can see how subjective it is, right? Again, using this guy, he says, killing is bad, and you say, all right, I agree with that. Let's just say he also says that killing animals is bad, and you could say, okay, but we need to eat their meat parts and their products and stuff like this. Then you can see you might diverge, and you might have your own opinion on what constitutes bad. Right? You can see how it will become quickly subjective. Right? It would not be something that's objective, something that's that we can all agree on, right? Because when someone says killing is bad, what do you mean by killing is bad, right? Who are you just talking specifically about, right? Are you talking only about animals, or are you talking about humans? And if you say that, all right, killing animals is okay, but humans is bad. Okay, which types of humans? What about humans that commit violent forms of crime? And you can say, well, even killing them is bad. Right? You can just put them in insane mental hospitals, or you can put them in prison and stuff. All right, but let's just say these people that commit violent crimes, they just keep committing crime. They keep breaking out of prison. And they have to die. Would you agree to that being okay and stuff? And you can say, killing humans is absolutely bad and stuff. You can see, again, a great deal of subjectivity to this type of this type of this morality that we kind of always have to focus on and bring up, and it's all subjective and stuff. Because again, he's that guy comes up to you and says that killing is bad, right? Well, what does he mean by killing is bad, right? He says, and you might agree to it, like what he was saying originally, right? Or killing is bad, right? But what if he says, killing animals is also bad, right? And you can say, well, you need their meat. Or about what if he says that killing anything that moves is bad? And he says, oh, some insects have to get crushed and stuff like this, otherwise they will start to kind of cause a lot of pollution and stuff. And see, this is just the problem with morality. It's kind of like, who gets to draw the line on what's good and bad and stuff? Who gets to define the parameters? Who gets to sharply, sharply define, again, what's absolutely wrong and what's absolutely right? It's so much subjectivity and stuff. And again, science hasn't discovered any type of physical rule book, right, that shows us like what's appropriate and what's wrong and evil and stuff like this. Good and bad. Again, we can't sense and feel good and bad, right? It's just some type of idea inside of our heads that a lot of people have, right? They not just morality. I'm talking all, like, there's so many different things that are just fictional, right? Not physical, right? Not in this real world, right? Human rights, the legal systems that we have to kind of operate in and stuff, legal frameworks for society to function and stuff like this. It's all imaginary, it's all fictional. There's no physical aspect to this type of these types of ideas that we came up with ourselves, right? We didn't discover these ideas in the natural world, right? Because if you look into the natural world, animals, they don't discuss ethics, they don't discuss morality, right? They just operate basically off of instinct, right? They just do what they feel is right, and that's it. Rape, animals, they don't really care about, the legal ramifications of raping another member of their species. They just rape and do what feels right. They don't care about the consequences and stuff. That's kind of the difference, right, between, humans, right, us and the other types of creatures on this planet, right? We care about the consequences of our actions, right? But, other creatures, they just do what they feel is right, and then they just kind of ignore what happens after, right? They don't really think too much about what they do and stuff. And this is like why we're a lot more unique, and of course bringing it back to morality, because the other creatures, the other animals on this planet, they don't really have any, they don't really contemplate on what they're doing, right? They don't think about their actions, and if their actions are good or bad or stuff like this. That's something that's unique to humans, right? We're the only type of creature that has this type of understanding on good and bad. It's kind of so weird, right? It's kind of very unique in this type of way, right? Yeah, but good and bad, to bring that guy, this is to kind of bring him back into the discussion, right? Bring him back. He says killing is wrong, and then you might agree, and then he says, oh, killing animals is also wrong. You might kind of diverge and stuff and say, no, we need to kill animals for meat. He says that killing anything that moves is wrong, and then you can kind of, you might diverge even more. So, well, insects and other things, pests might get in the way, so you would have to kill them and stuff. Ultimately, you can see what I'm trying to say, right? That there is a lot of subjectivity and stuff. Good and bad morality is it's kind of extremely hard to define properly.